Fuck you, I'm smarter, bitch.
I can't believe you're gonna rig this game.
We don't want to feel dumb anymore.
I feel so stupid right now.
We're here to find out if we're actually dumb. Don't ask us any questions.
Two bumbling morons. Fuck you, I'm smarter.
Welcome to Fuck You, I'm Smarter, the comedy game show where we compete with the guests to be crowned the smartest person in the room, Zoom, YouTube, Live.
Oh, you've added on.
I've added
It's now, it was just the room. Now it's the room Zoom. Then it's
the room
Zoom YouTube Live. Yeah, I like it. It's
Kelly had a healing today.
I had a healing session.
And I don't mean to brag, but.
Oh, you are bragging. Lindsey was envisioned by my healer. Well, she didn't call you by name. She just said you had big, beautiful eyes and eyelashes, and she was an important woman in my life who was kind of annoying, but that I needed to trust her.
Oh, I love that because I am
She
kind of annoying.
She didn't say you were kind of annoying, but I added that.
But she said you
edit.
might feel pressure sometimes, like in the way that I am with you.
Yeah, because you're annoying.
Let us not forget that I got this apartment dick ready and you still didn't sign up for the dating apps, and I left you alone about it. I left you alone.
I'm not doing it right now. I talked about it with my healer. Okay, we're not doing it right now.
It's okay.
I'm not ready.
She's
not ready.
She's not ready. Well, Kelly, happy Pride Month.
Thank you.
If you're not getting dick this month, there are a lot of people that are. You know what I mean?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope our guest is.
I hope our guest is too. I guess we'll get into it.
Okay.
So I was telling this guest before we signed on that I saw him perform so many years ago.
And apparently I did too.
I think you were there. I think you were there.
Probably wasted. Yeah.
At a bar, a gay bar named Therapy, which my neighbor, we could talk about this too, actually. My neighbor, remember they used to kill my rats and my mice in New York?
Him. Oh,
he worked at Therapy. I think that's why I went, actually.
Huh. Wait, what was his name?
Paolo.
Paolo.
Yes. So I know we have to talk about it. I totally forgot about this connection.
Have you ever seen him stomp on a mouse?
I have many times.
There was a mouse on a glue trap.
Yes.
He put it in a paper bag and he stomped on it real quick. He's like, done.
He went, Wonder Woman's here. And then he stepped on a mouse. And we were
then he left.
And then we were like, we got to go. We got to get out of the house. We got to get out of the house.
He was your savior.
I'm really excited to hang with this lovely actor, writer, comedian. It's been many moons since we've seen him perform. And I'm so excited to play with him. Ladies and gents, Brad Loekle.
Hi, everybody. Woo!
I can't wait to chat with you. How are you? How are you doing over there?
I'm great. No, I'm really good, actually. I'm really good. I'm excited that June 15th is around the corner, so Los Angeles will go insane and rage, and just people will be naked in the streets again. And the world's opening up again, so I'm getting ready to go back on tour and do fun projects and do stuff like that. Yeah, so it's,
Well, you are dear friends with Sharon Houston, who is friends of Fuck You, I'm Smarter.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show and the pod, and helped us actually start it. So if anyone is looking for podcast help, she is wonderful.
Yeah, she has our pod class.
And you moved here from New York.
I did.
She's the best. And you said you've been here now. How long have you been here?
8 years. April was 8 years in Los Angeles. I moved here at 35 years old, doughy, bald, and gay, which is exactly what you should do in Hollywood.
100%.
You really want to move here right in the sweet spot of your middle age.
I love it. We moved here about 7 years ago as well.
I mean,
from New
we
York.
were like,
so God, almost the same time.
Like, I think I was 32.
I was 30 when I moved here.
Yeah, 32. Yeah.
I was 35. So we
similar.
all made the same great choice.
We all made the same mistakes.
We did.
I stand by it.
Where are you from originally?
Listen, that pandemic happened, and I was like, if I was still stuck in that apartment in Washington Heights, I would have burned Manhattan to the ground.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know.
I had the same thought. I was like, I am so glad
lucky.
I'm not still there. That would be
like, I never did a COVID
insane.
winter. And so I just am like so thankful that like the sun's always out.
Griffith Park is my best friend.
Yeah.
I think I would have.
there's-
I could see like really spiraling into a very
100%.
dark place.
Oh.
A very dark place. I think
Yeah.
I would have had some.
And I was
No,
in
we
a
got
third floor
lucky.
walk-up, so I could have jumped
Me too.
and died. I could
Me too.
absolutely. I would have or starved to death because I'm so fucking lazy that to this day, I can't. I don't understand how I ever had groceries, and I always did in New York, because I moved here and I just stopped moving altogether. Like, I don't physically move at all.
You don't need to. I have now, because of the pandemic, I now am a person who has their groceries delivered. I was not that person.
I'm
and
never
now
going
I
back.
am that
I'm
person.
never going back. I'm never going back.
No. There was a day in the middle of the pandemic where, according to my phone, I walked 37 steps.
and
that's harder than 10,000, by the way. That's actually more difficult.
It's harder to do that. It's harder to do
because
less.
I ate 5 times that day and had to go.
Wow.
To town. So still,
you were very economical with your meat.
I was in a competition I wasn't aware I was in, but I won.
Right, but you
were like, I did it. I actually beat
did it,
everybody.
Keep it under 50. Keep it under 50.
Incredible.
Wait, so where are you from originally? Are you from New York, or where did you?
I'm from the Hudson Valley of New York, so I'm from about 90 minutes north of Manhattan, which is a very different world than Manhattan.
Very different,
so
but close enough that you can be there often, I'm sure. Yeah.
It was very never went
Never?
No,
I mean when you were growing up, you probably went into the city a lot.
No, my parents were not city people. I used to cut school. Once I had a driver's license, I would cut school and drive to a train station in New Jersey where I knew no one would recognize my car, and then get on the train to go to Manhattan to cut school to go down to Christopher Street. But I was such a dork. Like, I wouldn't even, like, I'd go to the Christopher Street Pier and hang out with, like, the gay hookers and stuff and, like, a little bit of, like, the street scene. But what I was really also doing was I would take my money from my part-time job and go to the Oscar Wilde bookstore and buy books about gay history and gay life or gay, because there was just this was, like, pre-internet. So I was like, I know we exist. I know I'm not the only one, and I know there has to be something about us other than AIDS. Because at that point, that was all you saw on TV was AIDS.
Absolutely.
So I literally was like, I was the only kid who, like, cut school to basically go to the library.
You cut school to go to school, like to take yourself to school.
Yeah, to basically be like, I'm just going to go to a different school. So
that's so
I was
cool.
I was a badass nerd.
Yeah, I consider myself the same type of nerd, a badass one for sure.
I didn't read a lot. I only read when people told me I had to.
Yeah.
Did your healer bring that up too? Did your healer?
She said she's really uneducated, but she's a good person.
Slightly illiterate, but lovely eyes.
Yeah, beautiful eyes, nothing going on above them.
Yeah, beautiful eyes, nothing going on behind them. Going in two different directions. But
lightless
when you get
eyes.
them in focus, if you put headlights in front of her, she's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
When I moved here, so you said when you moved here, you stopped moving. When I moved here, I stopped reading because in New York, I would read like a book a week.
Fair.
I would read a book of the week on the train. I was like,
there's no train.
Right. No, the train. That's true. Yeah.
Now I'm like, forget it. And audiobooks, like, it's not the same muscles. It's not the same.
I can't do audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's someone, the only person I can do is if it's Toni Morrison reading her own book. Because like if it's someone whose voice is so magnificent, like that it sounds like a song to begin with, yes. But if it's just gonna be like
some actor,
somebody reading to me, I'm not. No, I don't need Jeff Goldblum reading me Stephen Hawking's Meaning of the Universe.
That actually would be really cool.
That actually would be entertaining because he'd probably just go off on his own diatribes. He'd be like, "What does this even mean?" I don't
start playing jazz and being like, ba-da-ba, did-he-da.
Start flirting with you in an almost consensual way over the audiobook.
100%.
Definitely.
We saw him perform.
Why do I feel so violated? It's just a voice.
We saw him at a music festival.
Why am I getting
perform.
undressed to this audiobook?
He performed at this music festival that we went to in the before times, and he started doing Jurassic Park trivia, and I was like, this was the greatest moment of my life.
It was really fun.
That's wonderful.
It was wonderful.
That's great. The greatest moment when I first moved here, a dear friend of mine, Aaron Elvis, who's an amazing DJ, took me to when when movie theaters were a thing and ArcLight still existed.
Yes.
They would do the thing once a year where they would bring in the stars of like some of your favorite films from years past, and they would do a Q&A before the film. So we got to go see Steel Magnolias with Sally Field and Shirley MacLaine. And it was Shirley MacLaine's birthday, and they hadn't seen each other in about 10 years. And the whole room was gay. And this was the week I moved here. And I live with a dear friend who was there that night, and we didn't know each other yet.
Wow.
I've met like 50 gay men who, if we talk long enough, we figure out that we were all there that night, but I just didn't know anyone yet.
It's the common denominator of gays in LA.
You had the option to be in a room with Sally Field and Shirley MacLaine bitching about the director from Steel Magnolias. And then
amazing.
That is amazing.
Oh, it was great. It was the best. It honestly was. I was like, I peaked the first week I got here. I was like, I should just.
You can't really get much better than that, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad, when you were younger, did you know you wanted to be a performer?
I definitely knew I wanted to be a performer. So the first time I ever got on a stage was first grade, and they were doing like some kind of school play-ish. I guess it was kind of a truncated Peter Pan story. And I remember they made me the narrator because I was the best reader, and the teacher thought I could memorize all my lines, and she had to write out all your lines on that big paper, that has the dotted in between. And mine was like 8 pages, and everyone else's was like 1 page. And we had a time where we had to memorize it, and I literally read it like 3 times and walked over and said, "I'm ready." And she went, "What?" And I went, and I literally just recited it back in full performance in the room. And she was just, and on my first grade report card, she, other than saying Brad has trouble with nap time and it disturbs other children during nap time, which is still the case. She said, "I fully expect to see the name Brad Loekle," and she wrote my name in block letters and she did put stars all the way around it, like it was a marquee.
Yeah.
So it literally is like, even like adults when I was little were like, "You're a creepy adult child who's probably going to be in show business." Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And the fact that you, like, we talk about this on the show a lot, that one teacher, like, you don't forget that. Like,
the one teacher that believed in you and like saw something in you. And
I'm still friends with a couple teachers I'm friends with my second grade teacher still, and I'm friends with my high school drama teacher, of course.
Wow.
I love
because
that.
she's a huge fruit fly. And was basically like my very dramatic soap opera mom in high school, where we would like, I was the star in half of the shows, and then we'd have fights at rehearsal, and I was mad at her, I would call her Beth, her real name, and people would be scandalized.
Oh,
I love Beth. How dare you?
Like that. Calm down.
Oh my gosh, I wish we were in like Bye Bye Birdie together when we were younger, I feel like we could have really done some magic on stage together.
And we still can.
Somewhere there's a Pasadena Playhouse waiting for our hours now.
I think so.
Exactly.
But just the 3 of us, and we'll play all the
characters.
All the roles. All the roles.
I want to be the ghost. Okay.
Should we get started?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Fuck you, I'm smarter.
So, in our little notes, you had mentioned that your mom is a CPA.
Yes.
And you said that one of your least favorite subjects was math. And
correct. Pulled a solid C- to D+ in math consistently.
Yes.
Ooh.
Well, here on the show, we hate math. We really.
Yeah, we don't like it. We notoriously do not like doing math.
We do it sometimes.
We do it sometimes just because we feel like
we gotta do it,
but we hate it.
So I was not in the mood for math this week.
Don't blame
so
you. Not a good week for math.
instead of doing a math class, we're going to do a tax class.
I hate you.
Oh, okay.
We're going to learn about taxes, okay? But I tried to make it fun, all right?
She does talk to me about her job a lot over the years, so hopefully.
Well, I don't think
Okay.
I don't know if this will help, but we'll
God.
see. we'll really see, won't we? So we're going to play a game that I called Hot Tax Take. Ooh. All right. So we're going to go back and forth.
Okay.
We'll start with our guest, Brad, and just 1 point for each question.
Okay.
Super
Okay.
simple. All right.
So no points for me.
So, Brad, here we go. We can trace documented records of taxation all the way back to ancient Egypt. Can you believe that?
I do.
Sometime between 3000 and 2800 BCE. Apparently, there was a biennial event called the Following of Horus. I like that name.
So juvenile.
The Following of Horus.
Got it.
Wasn't the god you're thinking of? Wasn't
No.
Horus? Didn't cover that. Horus was a different kind of god.
Yeah, different.
Exactly. When the pharaoh went around collecting taxes in his dual roles as head of state and living incarnation of the god Horus. Okay, here's the question. The god Horus is depicted as A, a falcon wearing a crown with a cobra on it, B, a mummified god wearing wrappings that left only green skin of his hands and face exposed, or C, a canine or a man with a canine.
C, a canine.
That is incorrect. Kelly, do you want to try to
Oh, no.
steal?
It's the falcon.
It is the falcon.
Which,
oh shit! Which is the
incidentally-
canine?
I wrote it down.
I was so
And
confident. I was.
It's Anpu, A-N-P-U, the god of death and mummification.
Ooh.
Oh, well,
who
that's
the
probably why I
canine.
remember it.
Incidentally, my healer today
What?
told me that I have a falcon in my crown chakra.
What?
Yes.
You are a
One of-
Horus.
It's one of my spirit animals.
You are a Horus.
One. How many do you get?
I have a porcupine in my heart.
So the more sessions you pay her for, the more spirit animals you're allowed to have. I'm sensing a. Speaking
Maybe.
of taxation, I'm noticing a financial
No,
pattern
she's
here.
actually fucking amazing.
If you buy the deluxe package, you get a manatee.
How many?
We're from Florida. We
love
are
manatees.
manatees.
Yes.
I love. I'm
Um,
actually on Fire Island in the gay community of Fire Island. I'm known as the Fire Island manatee.
Ooh.
That was my
Get out of
nickname
here.
when I
like
worked
that.
out there.
I love
That's
Fire
cute.
Island, by the way. Love Fire Island.
You know, I
Good
never
time.
went.
Got a
You
lot
never
of-
took me there.
I only went once with my ex-boyfriend. We were the only straight people there.
Which
but
one?
We stayed in
Who'd you go
Cherry
with?
Grove. I went with Micah, and it was
Oh,
so
God.
much
You
could have
fun.
taken me.
I ran a weekly show in Cherry Grove with Ariel Sinclair, Portia, the drag queen. I literally I spent 10 years producing shows in Cherry Grove too.
I
Oh,
Have you secretly been stalking me for the last
think
20 years?
maybe.
What's going on?
we stayed in this really cute boutique little like inn, and there was a lesbian couple, like a family staying in the same place as us, and it was kind of only like 4
Oh, so probably
rooms or something.
Sandpiper, because there's only
Yeah,
there's only
that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the women looked at us and said, "Don't tell any of your friends about this place." And I was like, "We won't. We won't."
I
Because
love that.
I didn't know how great. I just went because it was close and I
Right.
wanted to be near a beach. And I was like, I will never tell anyone about
I
this
love
place.
it.
It was
It's gay
the
Gilligan's
best.
Island.
Yeah, let her and her wife have it.
I wanted them
You know
to
what I
have
mean?
it
Yeah.
so bad.
We let the straight Long Island boys come over on the ferry, and then it's always interesting to see which of them missed
one
the last
turns.
ferry.
Right.
because they lost track
have
of
to
time,
stay
and now they need a
overnight.
place to stay.
I love it.
Mhm.
I
Got a lot
love
of
it.
social
Strong
diseases
air
that way.
quotes going on here. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a lot of what?
Yeah.
What'd you
Social
say?
diseases that way. Got a lot of social diseases that way.
Social
Mhm.
diseases.
You always get them from those Jersey boys, don't you?
Yep, Bayshore boys.
They nasty.
All right, Kelly.
Yes.
The first taxes implemented in the United States caused a rebellion.
Of course.
The rebellion was called the Blank Rebellion and was largely due to the attacks that Alexander Hamilton imposed on blank. So it was the Blank Rebellion, attacks imposed on blank.
Huh?
Was it A, whiskey, B, corn, or C, hemp? Alexander Hamilton.
Whiskey.
Yes. Kelly.
Ooh.
Brad, you
Look
should
at
know
you.
she's only gotten 3 points for the last 10 episodes, so this is big. She already
And
has
I already
2.
have 2.
I'm like, wow. Okay.
It's because I was healed today.
It was because you were here.
Right.
Everything's better now.
You have a
All right.
chocolate cheat sheet going on somewhere.
Uh-huh.
inside
She
of you now.
totally did.
Exactly.
She channeled that falcon through my computer. I mean, that's insane.
That's pretty wild.
All right, Brad, we can thank Abraham Lincoln for having a federal income tax. He signed the Revenue Act in 1861, which imposed the first ever federal income tax. It was to drum up funds for the Civil War. The Congress enacted a modest 3% tax on the income over $800, which today would be about $23,000. In 1913,
It's not a lot.
the Blank Amendment established the federal income tax system that we know today. So, is it the Third Amendment, B, the 16th Amendment, or C, the 23rd Amendment? Which is all about taxes and our federal income tax system we know today. Third Amendment, 16th Amendment, 23rd
Yeah,
Amendment.
I'm like, oh.
Oh. This is a mom question. You can phone a friend if you want to.
My mother will not know that. My mother's like, I make sure people don't go to jail for lying on their taxes. I don't
Got
know the
it.
history of taxation.
Got it.
Got
That's fair.
Which is why I'm now relaxed as far as I won't be written out of the will or anything for being an idiot.
Good.
I'm going to say 16.
That is correct.
Wow.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
So good. So the Third Amendment, just in case you were wondering, prohibits forcing citizens to provide lodging for soldiers.
Oh, right. To the soldiers. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you no longer have to do that.
Yes. And then the 23rd Amendment.
I still do, though. If you show up and Pamela, if
Yeah,
you show
you're all
up in a
about
sailor's
the Third
uniform to
Amendment.
my house, you're getting in.
You're getting in.
All right, you hear that, boys?
And the
Fleet's
23rd.
coming.
Come on in. 23rd Amendment allows Washington, D.C. citizens the right to choose electors in presidential elections. That was the 23rd Amendment.
Oh, okay. Good stuff.
Remember when the sailors would come to New York and all of a sudden...
Fleet
there
Week.
was
Fleet Week, girl.
Week?
Fleet Week. Ooh, patriotism felt like lockjaw by the end of that week.
I would look out
Ooh.
my window and
Well,
Hell's
because
Kitchen.
listen, obviously I was very happy when Don't Ask, Don't Tell ended, but when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a thing, the sex was really good.
Yeah, I
because it was
bet.
really
Yeah, there's just a lot of
dangerous.
repression. Yeah.
Yeah, and just they could get in trouble.
Yeah.
They could lose. So it's
Yeah,
just
the
you had to
stakes
meet
were
in
higher.
they couldn't go into gay bars, so you had to kind of find them in like video booths or make aggressive eye contact
I
in
love
bathrooms. It was the good old days
In-
where every sexual encounter you might die.
Right.
But if you didn't, it was
Ooh.
really good.
Oh my God, incredible.
Really makes
yeah,
it
I
worth
lived
it.
near Posh and they would always be like hanging around there. And
Oh yeah.
What's going on over here? All right, Cows Bells. Peter the Great taxed blank. In
citizens.
1698, Russia's Peter the Great introduced a blank tax. After embarking upon what he called a grand embassy across Europe to observe more about Western cultures and processes, he came back with a number of reforms designed to bring Russia up to speed.
Yeah.
Did he tax A, long pants because he saw that people started wearing shorts? B,
What year was this?
This is 1698.
Okay.
B, gold jewelry because he wanted to nix that as a fad. Or C, beards because he thought his people looked too hairy.
I'm going to go with beards.
That is correct. Kelly Wallace Barnhill.
Woo!
3 points. I'm like, woo.
Oh my God. I mean,
Can I tell you, I just watched a 5-part documentary on the history of the Russian czars. And I knew it was either going to be beards or pants because I didn't know if he applied a tax to pants, but he forced everyone to start dressing in a more European way.
Yeah.
Because he literally wanted, that's why St. Petersburg, the city, like he built it to be this like epic city because he wanted to like attract Europe. But I knew beards I was like, damn it, I just watched the documentary on this.
I feel like this show is very serendipitous. One thing I read about it is that, yes, he started making people, well, at first he started banning all beards, and then he realized, like, I can't police everyone and what they do, and probably with the pants and how they dress. So then he just enforced a tax on it.
It's kind of control issues, huh?
And the higher someone was of status, the more they would have to pay taxes. So like the poor people, he didn't care if they had beards. It was more about like your status.
He also had a toy navy, but that was like 3/4 the size. He had a lake that he used all the money to just build 2 entire fake armies, and he would make them go to fake war with each other like a kid in the bathtub.
Literally just a giant kid. He's like
all the czars were.
That's crazy.
What's in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Who's the Francis?
Oh
in the
yeah.
tub?
Yeah. Literally. Yeah.
Just playing, just like a mean.
The only one that was
spoiled...
half decent was the woman. Catherine the Great was the only one who was good for anything. And of course, she was a woman, so they had to constantly try to murder her.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about her. Write that down, Lindsay.
Okay, Catherine the
Great. We're gonna have to do a game.
We pretend.
Oh, she's a good time. She's a good.
We pretend that
we're gonna revisit things and then we forget what they were. But I'm writing them down.
We do. We have a Google Doc for it now.
Okay.
We're so professional.
This is the last question. This is actually going to be for both of you. Okay. So you both have a chance to answer. Okay. So just you could write down your answer, or you could just say it when I call on you.
Okay.
I have a question. In California, there is a cow flatulence tax.
Okay. I feel like I've heard of this for some weird reason.
Brad, why is there a cow fart tax?
Because cows produce a massive amount of methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas. So it's probably a carbon emissions.
That's my answer.
That's also your answer?
That is also my answer.
Now, when you cleared your chakras earlier,
there was no...
Is there a truth...
You're like, I don't have a cow chakra.
Yeah, there's no cows in here.
Is there a truth chakra that was really your answer, or you just liked his answer and you're going for that answer?
That was going to be my answer, honestly, because I know that cows produce methane, and I know that's a greenhouse gas. Like, that's literally... Because that's why... the cattle industry is like, it's bad for the environment, whatever, because it just produces a lot of extra methane.
And bad for the cows. People also forget.
And also
doesn't turn out well for the cows.
It does not end well for them.
So it said on the internet that the Golden State enacted legislation in September that will regulate greenhouse gas emissions from farms and landfills, including cow flatulence, a major source of methane, which is a more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide.
Now, I feel so rich in points that I'll let Brad have this point.
No, I gave it to both of you. We'll see how this game goes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give it to both of you.
Okay.
We'll take one away if we have to.
I have a feeling you will.
All right. Well, that was, what was it? Hot tax takes.
Hot tax takes. Brad, you said that you went to an art conservatory?
I did. I went to the University of the Arts in Philadelphia for music and theater.
Oh my God, my family's from Philly. I love Philadelphia.
Oh, really? One of my best friends is from college. We're still very close, and he lives in Philly, and he teaches at UArts actually with his wife.
Awesome.
So yeah, I lived right across the street from Woody's. on Walnut Street, the gay bar, my first year, and then I lived next to the Drake building for a year, and then I lived on 7th and South for 2 years.
Amazing.
So I know
good
Philly
areas.
very well.
Yeah.
Before we
South
get into
Street.
your game, how were your parents with like what you wanted to do for a living? Were they supportive? Did they understand it?
They were super supportive. My father always wanted to be a rock star, so he was just happy that I went into the arts at all and like lived a dream, followed a dream. So he's been thrilled. He's always been very supportive. And my mother was just very thankful that I was good at anything. But like I say that in a really supportive way, and like she has a firm theory that I ascribe to too, that because humans are kind of a herd animal, this kind of American idea that everyone has to be exceptional, that like that just can't be. Everyone's not going to be the CEO of a company, because who else would work in the rest of the company? Not everyone's going to invent, an electric car, because once it's done, it's done. So her biggest fear was that just genetically no skills or talents would be passed down to me by either of them. And she would just hopefully raise like a lovable, non-violent idiot, but then kind of, once I showed promise for anything, and I showed it so early on, that she was just like, run with it. If that's the thing you can do, run with it. Run with it as hard as you can. So they were actually really, really supportive.
That's
Cool.
so wonderful. So wait, so what were you studying? Theater, music? Like what were you studying?
Music theater. The gayest major you could have.
Absolutely.
She was a theater major, and I did the BFA musical theater at University of Miami. So you're in good hands.
I looked at University of Miami too, but I did the summer program at UArts, and I liked it there. And they wrote a letter of recommendation for me to get to apply to colleges. And I was like, why don't we just hedge our bets here, and I'll apply here
They already
with
know
your
me
own
there.
letter of recommendation, so you kind of have to take me.
Right. Well, it sounds like it was the right decision.
Yeah. Also, I felt like if I went to Miami, I would have missed a lot of classes and just partied.
It was
Philly's like a good, Philly's a good enough city that during
mix.
the school year, half of it takes place during winter.
Right.
Like there's
You're
no
forced
beach
to actually go to school.
Yeah, you're forced to stay in school.
you're not 20 minutes from South Beach.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God.
I think it could have been
like,
too
married
dangerous.
to some gay guy in a cartel by the time I was 19.
Totally.
Incredible.
All right, Brad. So you went to an art conservatory, but how much do you know about art conservation? We're taking a turn. We're pivoting.
Oh no.
You thought we were going to make it easy for you, but we're talking about art conservation today.
Oh, I don't even know what that means, honestly.
Is the answer Q-tips? I know for paintings they use Q-tips a lot. That's all I've seen in movies.
Oh my God.
All
Da
right.
Vinci Code. Does that count?
I think so. Something like that. Yeah, give him a point for Da Vinci Code. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. All right. So there are 4 major areas of art conservation. There's something called renovation, which I'm sure you've heard of. There's restoration. There's preservation. And there's conservation.
Okay.
Do any of those words mean anything to you? Could you tell me, this question is actually for both of you.
Okay.
What can you tell me about any of those things? Like, what is renovate? Because they all sound sort of similar, but what's the difference? What's renovation? What's restoration? What's preservation? What's conservation?
I really like, I love, like if I had all the money in the world, I love restoration hardware.
Yeah.
But I can't really afford it.
No.
And sometimes I could kind of afford the world market. Like there's
Love
some
world
things
market.
that look similar that I can afford.
Sure.
But other things, like I just wish I had a little bit more
so
money.
It's expensive
Restoration
hardware is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is your answer.
It's like
that is
restoring
incorrect.
old stuff and making it new again.
Restoring old stuff and making it
Look
new
new
again.
again. No.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a point. That's let me tell you exactly what it says right here.
Okay.
Renovation simply means to make an object look like new.
Great.
Done. So
that's
object,
renovation.
That's
restoration.
You're saying that's restoration.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Oh.
Who's the teacher here?
You did learn about art
'Cause I'm like,
conservation at your art
renovation has to be when
conservatory.
the tapestries half destroyed and they have to rebuild half the tapestry, right?
You're right. Renovation is making something look like new. It can be done like however. Restoration is something different. So restoration, give him a point.
Conservation means keeping it okay and like protecting it and making sure it doesn't get damaged.
I thought of something.
Can I get a point?
You got a point.
No, I
you didn't get a point.
Brad came in and
Brad
stepped
got a
on my
point
toes.
because restoration means to bring it back to the way that it was before,
to
not just to
rejuvenate.
make it look like
So
new.
if the painting's all dirty and the colors are faded, you use
Go
the
clean
Q-tips
it.
and you wipe everything away.
Yes.
If the tapestry's half destroyed, they have to like go find new gold thread and try to recreate the part that's missing, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Preservation is doing things to protect it from getting damaged.
Right? Like UV covers and stuff like that. Like in museums, how they'll cover.
Yes.
Like they don't let you take flash photography and they don't.
Okay, I'll give you a point, Lindsay. But then we're just gonna get a little bit more, more detailed. Brad, can you tell me what the difference between preservation and conservation is? Because they sound very similar, but there's a difference.
I mean, obviously there has to be, and I know what both those words mean, but they kind of mean the same to me.
They mean the same. I
like
know.
If somebody told me I was going to a nature conserve, to look at birds, or a nature preserve to look at birds, I would assume they're basically the same thing.
How about
It'd be
this,
a big
Brad?
shitty lake with birds.
How about I'll give you the definition and of one of them, and you tell me which one. It is.
Okay.
Most commonly used in relation to architecture and built environments, this method states that the final appearance of whatever it is no longer the prime factor, but rather retaining the maximum amount of the original building fabric. Repairs must be done with minimal or no changes to the original building fabric and in like materials. So if possible, you have to use the same method that they used to make it originally and the same materials.
Preservation.
Yeah!
Wow.
Oh my God.
Very good.
Very good.
So preservation involves keeping an object from destruction and seeing to it that the object is not irredeemably altered or changed. And you can add to it, like to make it.
Got it.
But you have to use the same materials and the same building method if possible.
Right.
In conservation, the absolute maximum amount of the original material wait, this makes no sense. Sorry, it's not a real sentence. Basically, any repairs or additions you can't epoxy something to it. Like you have to kind of keep it separate. So if it's like a broken, like busted up building,
so you basically
leave
just
it the way
keep
it
the
is.
original thing as its thing,
and keep it from getting further damage. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
It's kind of like
right?
when you go to Pompeii. They have areas where they've recreated what the houses looked like with like clay people, but then they show you the places where they've just conserved the actual,
and it's just there. It's all like ruined.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Gosh,
Not
we're learning,
as
guys.
stupid as
Really
I thought.
good.
Wow.
Okay. Whew.
No,
all right.
I feel like you're smart. I mean, I feel like
he's definitely
I mean, I feel like he
Yeah,
knows.
no,
He
he's
watched the
I've
whole
had to
thing
go on a lot
about.
of hungover
czars.
cruise ship excursions with people to go see what I just call broken shit and baby Jesus. Because when you just go around, that's all they ever take you to see is
Did
just
you work
broken
on a
shit and
cruise
baby Jesus. I didn't, but I performed for two companies. One, they're owned by the same company, but it's Atlantis Events and RSVP Vacations, and they're all gay charter cruises.
Amazing.
fun.
And they bring out all their own entertainment. And so I've gone to 82 countries with them.
Wow.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. They're amazing. But it's, the ship offers excursions. And when I was younger and first doing it, I was like, I'll go on the ship excursion because I want to see Pompeii and Ephesus and the Colosseum. And then you get there and it's 110 degrees and it's just broken shit and baby Jesus. They're just like, something used to be over here. Look, something was standing there once. And you're like, really?
I worked on a cruise ship, and so I wanted to go and do the excursions, but I worked on a real cruise ship, not a gay one. So all my people were 80, and every time someone would fall, and I'd be like, this is going to be the trip where someone dies. This is going to be the trip where someone dies. So I couldn't even see Pompeii because I was worried about like Joan over here breaking her ankle. It was really scary.
Did Joan make it?
I had terrible excursion luck too. I always get the weirdest tour guide. I stopped going because I felt I was ruining guests' experiences with my bad luck because we would have I was in China 2 years in 2019 with them. And so you have to take a shore excursion when you're in China because of China's laws. You can't just be an American wandering off a cruise ship for 3 times. And we literally had this 23-year-old Chinese guy who basically had a nervous breakdown, but it was a 5-hour tour. At one point, he was just playing a flute and crying, talking to us in broken English. And I was just and everyone looks at me because I'm the comedian. I do a show at the end of the week that's called The Last Laugh. And it's about what happened all week long. And it was a bus of 50 gays who were just looking at me like, you better be taking notes, queen, because this better be in the show. And I was like, I can't go on these tours anymore. I can't.
That's so intense.
Yeah. I've had crazy tour guides.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Literally. I still have an audio
Chinese,
recording.
half English. Oh my God.
Yeah,
can you please
I
send
still
that
have
to
an
us?
audio recording of it, and I danced to it on stage during my show.
No, you have to. I need a clip of that we need to post for this episode.
If I can still find it in my iCloud, I'll
that is incredible.
What I will send you for your own enjoyment is the video I made, because also it rained the entire cruise, poured rain the entire cruise. So I have a photo and video slideshow of me just doing everything, going to Shanghai Disney in the pouring rain, going to cities where there's so many clouds you can't see the building. I'll just send that to you for shits and giggles. You'll get a laugh out of it.
I love it. Oh my God.
All right, guys, I've been really wanting to talk to you about insect damage.
Oh, great.
Have you ever thought about insect damage?
Yeah, I've had termites.
Yeah, so there's termites, and then actually the most common culprit for wood infestation of antique objects is the powder post beetle.
Oh.
Who knew?
What?
I just wanted to ask you guys, this is important.
For both of us.
For both of you. If you find signs...
It's about crabs, isn't it? It's about crabs.
It's not. I wish I was that.
That's tomorrow's show.
I made that connection. This is different kind of art. If you find signs of active insects in your antique wooden object or frame, what is the first thing that you should do immediately? What do? You
put it outside.
No, that's incorrect.
You sue the antique shop. You sue the antique shop you bought it at.
That is correct.
Is that it?
No, but he's getting a point for that.
I was thinking bed bugs, we just put everything outside in the sun.
You encase it in plastic.
Yes, that's actually right.
That's so smart.
You immediately quarantine the infested piece from other objects by wrapping and sealing it in a plastic bag.
Wow.
Well, let's see if you know this, Brad.
Wow.
All right. There are 4 main
I only know that
types.
because I travel too much and I've got bed bugs in a shitty
so
hotel.
Have we.
We've had bed bugs.
Horrible.
Yes, exactly. So I'm I assume the same
plastic.
applies to expensive art.
Exactly.
We were living in bin, we called it. Living in
bin. Everything was in a plastic bin. Living in bin. Then you might know this, Brad. There are 4 treatment methods when you have these bugs in your art. So there's fumigation, nitrogen gas treatment, the freeze and thaw method, and what's the 4th method?
Oh, heating it up. Heating it.
It's Brad's question.
I don't care.
No, it's actually, you're incorrect anyway.
Great. I didn't want that answer anyway.
I'm surprised freezing is even an option because I feel like that would damage it too. So that's why I would.
Well, it depends what
the other option.
They made very sure in this article to be these are specific for specific types of.
Yeah. Oh, for specific. Yeah. Oh, maybe UV light. Would a light
That's a
treatment
good
kill it?
guess. No, it's
Ooh.
actually just depriving it of oxygen, like putting it in something and sucking all the oxygen out.
Oh,
Interesting,
like
like
vacuum
freeze
sealing
drying it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes
It's
sense.
called anoxic treatment.
I don't think I've ever stopped to think that bugs breathe. Now that we talk about it, like I've never stopped to think about like a termite having a lung. I guess I just they
I
probably
never did
don't.
stop
It probably
to think about termite
it
lungs
probably
either,
absorbs through their exoskeleton. Like, but I've
that's
just
crazy.
never
No,
stopped to
you're
think
right.
about.
They must have some.
I never stopped to think
probably have
about
a
them
lung.
having an oxygen process.
Yes.
Right. Lindsay, do you remember the guy that told us that him and his girlfriend had bed bug? We were at a bar. We were at like some kind of event. I think it was a Big Vision Empty Wallet, like mixer or like workshop or something. And it was at a bar in New York. And there was a guy there who was telling us about his girlfriend, and he had bed bugs. And then the bed bugs they thought went away.
Yep. It's coming back.
No,
to me.
they don't.
But then so it was gone. They were gone for like 6 months, he
Coming
said.
back to me.
And then
Don't
this is the
say
first
what
time
you think.
This is the first time we've ever met this person.
This
He's
is not a
going
good
into this
story.
long story about
and you're like
then
just
his
backing away, like free social
girlfriend,
distancing, like get away from me.
had her period in the bed. Don't know why she was
and they
free
came back to
bleeding.
life.
And they fed on her blood and came back to life, and then they had bed bugs again.
That's what he told us.
This was
they
his
can
first
last,
story.
Like, the
This was
eggs or
his
something
greeting
can
story.
last for like 2 years.
Well, that's what he was
The
trying to
guy I
tell
was
us,
dating-
I guess.
Yeah, the guy I was dating in my 20s was in the hospital, like had this mystery illness. No one knew was wrong. He was eventually fine, but he was in the hospital for like a month, and there was a bed bug breakout in the hospital. So when he came
that's the worst place
home,
to have it.
but he got him like right at the tail end. So like he came home, and it was like a week later we started getting all itchy and blah blah blah. And then he got a phone call from the hospital saying we need to inform all the patients of like these 2 floors. And it took us, we had to do 2 rounds of the chemical treatment, and you have to take like 30 days off in between because you basically cover yourself with pesticide from like neck down. Everything had to be encased in plastic for like a year just to be sure. Like it was insane.
We had that
my God. Yeah,
right before we moved here.
And then I got them twice in LA.
Oh, yeah. There's too much nature in this town.
This was before
That's my
nature.
one complaint.
This was before
There's too many. We have a possum problem. We have a bed bug problem. Kill it
There's
all.
a skunk
Just nuke
problem too.
She's got skunks.
There's skunks here.
We got possums.
Oh, you do?
The skunk sprayed Lindsay's dog in the face while I was babysitting.
Oh no!
So I had a skunk-faced dog for 4 days.
It was a nightmare.
I wanted
for her.
to die.
I was in the Bahamas.
If I'd known, I would have told you a quick fix to that is to just get a different dog. It's just
smart, really smart.
Just
It's
go
the
to the
only way.
ASPCA and be like, sorry, it didn't work out with sprinkles.
Yeah.
I gotta.
All right, guys. Last question. This is for both of you, and I do have a multiple choice, so I'm actually going to have you maybe like write down your answer so that you can both.
Okay,
guess.
we can do
Does
that.
that work?
We can do that, and then I'll hold it up to the camera.
Yes,
We can do this
exactly.
officially.
Love it.
Right. All right. So, guys, I am just going to ask you what the most famous art restoration fail of all time is. So sometimes people like really fuck up a restoration and it comes out looking.
Right.
So there's many, but I'm going to give you 3 choices, and one is the most famous of all time.
Okay.
A, the Beast Jesus in Spain.
Oh.
Okay.
B, slutty Santa Barbara in Brazil.
Okay.
Or C,
love her.
Glammed out St. Anthony of Padua with drag baby Jesus.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So you could just guess whichever one you like the best, but it might not be the right answer.
I love
Yeah,
C.
I mean,
I think I'm going to go B.
Okay. What did Brad write?
I went with
A.
A.
A. Brad is right.
Woo!
Yes.
A. In
Wow.
undoubtedly the most famous example on this list from this article that I got, Cecilia Jimenez put her small Spanish town on the map when her hilariously inept attempts to restore a religious painting of Jesus in the crown of thorns went viral. She's 82. She had the best of intentions.
Aw.
She was like, I think some priest or somebody told her she could do it. And she, it literally looks.
Destroyed
They call it Beast Jesus or Behold the
Yeah.
Monkey, because it turned his face into like.
Yeah.
We'll show pictures of it. We'll have to post some pictures
Yeah.
of it. It's completely insane. SNL did a skit about it, and like
that's the one I know the
so
best.
funny.
And if I'm remembering correctly, professional restorers said it couldn't be fixed. So that's also why I picked it, because I was like.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember them like really throwing an 80-year-old woman under the bus, being like, "You
She
not
got
only
shit.
ruined it, but it can't even be attempted to be saved."
Wow.
Like,
I ruined it, bitch.
Jesus-
like, she
Jesus hates you
ruined
now.
it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see that.
It's really funny.
That's
It's really
amazing.
great. Yeah, and then there's like Slutty Santa Barbara in Brazil. They like made this statue. Like they gave her eyeliner. They like made the colors really bright and kind of garish. I actually saw I thought she looked good.
Yeah.
But they're. I
You're
think
a
art.
Horus,
Yeah,
so-
but art history is like pretty misogynist. So
Yeah.
whatever. And then there was the glammed out Saint Anthony in Colombia, and then he had a baby Jesus, and they both had like eyeshadow, blush, lipstick.
Of course.
Saint Anthony
of course.
looked like he had a facelift. Like it was just
It's amazing.
Yes.
amazing. I
Yes.
love it. I know.
I love it.
All right.
Those
So
sounds
what was-
like things I would actually hang in my house.
Exactly.
Sound
I
like
actually
works
like
I would
them.
actually put up. Yeah.
The Beast Jesus is hilarious though.
I
Like he
can't
looks
wait to
It's
see
just,
face
it
is
literally
so
looks like
fucked
a
up.
kid finger painted. Like it doesn't look like there was a painting under there at all.
here.
Like it just looks like a
look at
kid
that.
finger painted.
Here, Lindsay. I have
And
it
that
right
like
here.
the kid rode the short bus to school. Like not even a good kid finger painting.
Yeah, I need to see it.
All right, I'm gonna show you really quick. Brad, you know what it looks like,
Show
so
me
I'm
Beast
just there we
Jesus.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It literally looks
Yeah,
like a monkey.
your face, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Like they should have just
And
kept
she
it the way
used
it
like
was.
house paint or something. Like the
Yeah.
restorers were like, we can't fix this because you used the
Wow.
kind of paint that basically
They
attached
can't
to the
varnish it off
original
or
paint.
whatever.
And if we
They
try to
can't,
rub it
like-
off, it's just
yeah.
gonna rub off the whole thing.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Like she didn't even go to fucking Joann's Fabrics to get some
No.
actual
No.
acrylic paints or something.
She actually
was like,
used
"What do I
nail
got?"
polish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
She's
god.
like, what do I got around? I got some nail enamel. I got some Benjamin Moore in the garage.
I love it.
What a psycho.
Incredible.
Amazing. Listen, she tried her best.
She really did.
She tried her best.
She's somebody's grandmother.
Exactly.
You
Leave
know
her
what I mean?
alone. No, we have enough old art paintings of Jesus.
We
Come
definitely
on.
do. We
How
definitely
many more
do.
how many do we need? Let her have it. Let her
Very
have it.
true. It's all, yeah. No, and at least that one's now original. Because
Exactly.
there's every country you go to, Jesus just looks like them. So there's
Right.
Middle Eastern Jesus and Turkey
Now
Jesus
Beast.
and Greek Jesus and and
Right.
now at least there's monkey Jesus. There's weird
Yeah,
creepy
important.
Sasquatch Jesus.
I think it's important that they're represented.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Big feet are people too.
Well, you guys, it's recess time.
Woo!
Brad, do you have any fun, embarrassing stories from your youth?
um, so my middle school didn't have a drama club, which pissed me off to no extent.
Yes.
Because I was already feverishly, I would regularly in tears fight with my mother about not taking me to LA in the
Right.
summer so I could try to be on Nickelodeon. I
That's
literally
fucked up
would
that she
beg
didn't
her
take you.
constant. I would beg her to sell me into show business constantly. I begged to go live with and my mother was like, "You're like 10. I can't just sign you over your legal guardianship over to Harvey Weinstein and
Yeah.
hope it all works out
Please
well."
no. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Not just gonna
Yeah.
drop you off at Brian Singer's house and hope for the best.
Right.
Um,
Here you have an
but I,
internship with
like,
Kevin Spacey.
yeah, woo! But I aggressively thought that's what was supposed to happen. That my career was being stunted if I wasn't being sold into child Hollywood labor.
Amazing.
So there was one middle school teacher who I didn't even have as a teacher. Wonderful woman, but I wasn't even in one of her classes. She just liked me and we talked a lot.
Yeah.
And I basically bully campaigned her into getting the school to give her like $2,000 to get some play or musical that we could do as like an
Wow.
8th grade show. And so for some reason,
incredible.
because I'm the one who bullied her into it, she let me pick. So I read, but we had so little money because the money had to cover like costumes and the music and the rental from Samuel French, the script.
Yes.
So it was all rip-offs of legitimate shows. So I ended up choosing a rip-off of Little Shop of Horrors called Little Luncheonette of Terrors, which is about a lizard person who comes up from the center of the earth to take over mankind. And his name, of course, is Mongo. Mongo, Mongo. His introduction, 20 minutes in, is the song "I Me Mongo," which I slayed. By the way, I of course cast myself as the lizard person villain that I played just naturally in a very kind of Scar from The Lion King, like unnecessarily gay, because that's the only shade of acting I had at that point in my life was just super gay.
Yeah.
So for like the late 80s, early 90s, it was also kind of really not playing in well to my own community's best interest to portray all villains as gay.
Right. True.
But yeah, so we had to do, and so we did the whole thing. I was in a black and silver. For some reason, the costume store in our town had a black and silver metallic lizard full body costume. With just the face open. I then did in black and silver metallic paint, but not like a lizard, just like, I don't know what the fuck I decided.
For fun.
Well, you're a lizard from the center of the earth, so you're not going to look like
just patterns. I took a lot of liberties with the role.
Yes.
I took a lot of
artistic license for sure.
Literally. And so that's probably to this day the thing I'm the most egregiously embarrassed by is that I literally bullied an entire intermediate school into letting me have a show.
Well, let's get to our next class. I actually think Brad's going to be really, really excited about this class, and I actually think he's going to be really good. We're going to go to music class, and we're going to play a game called Let's Get Our Kicks with Stevie Nicks.
Oh, God, I better do well at this.
Yes. So, Brad, you have a very special relationship with Stevie Nicks, you told us.
I do. Not a personal one. I don't want to get blocked.
In your mind, in your heart.
Yeah, it just in my mind. My best friend and I from childhood, basically Stevie Nicks is like our baseball cards. So we have spent our life collecting like confirmed stories about Stevie Nicks, but more importantly, she's a really prolific songwriter of a period of time where both because she was drunk and high a lot and because the technology allowed for it, there are hundreds and hundreds of bootleg unreleased songs of hers and demos and outtake recordings and different stylized versions of songs. And so her fans kind of have created this whole collecting world around it. Like you try to hunt down and this is going back to like when you had to find like seed burn CDs of them or cassettes. So it was kind of like, it was like our nerdy comic book baseball thing, but it was Stevie Nicks. So I ended up, I'm still very much in love with her. And my best friend Dan and I will still occasionally talk for like 5 hours on the phone about her when she does something weird.
If I get any information wrong, okay, I want you to know it's the internet's fault, and I want you to correct me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's get our kicks with Stevie Nicks. All right, let's start with Brad. He's going to know this. I already know it.
He's going to know them all.
All right. As a small child, Stephanie Nicks would call herself TD as she couldn't pronounce her own name.
Idiot.
Her blank, Aaron Nicks, was a jobbing country and western singer and taught Stevie to sing with him. Understanding little Stevie was marketing gold, Aaron asked to take the primary school age Stevie on tour, but was rejected when her parents forbade it. Was Aaron her A, grandfather?
It's her grandfather.
Yes.
And her full name is Stephanie Lynn Nicks.
So great.
Show off.
I love it.
Actually, the first little song she ever wrote was about her grandfather. And she wrote it when she was like 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's definitely going to win this.
I know.
Yeah.
Kelly, how did Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham meet? Was it A, the music scene, B, on the neighborhood playground, or C, at youth group?
The playgrounds.
That is incorrect. Brad, do you know? Was it the music scene?
I assume you're going with youth group, but they actually met in high school initially and re-met again in the music scene of San Francisco before joining the band Fritz, before they formed their own duo.
Very good.
So but they don't have playgrounds in high school?
No, I have heard that there was a...
Bro, I don't know what kind of playground we're doing in high school.
There was a youth
band
group,
closet.
like a youth group club, like a Christian club in their high school.
Gotcha, yeah.
And
she says she remembers meeting him, and he says he doesn't remember meeting her there, which also plays into their fighting with each other.
Interesting. All right, so Brad
she just wants to be
mentions-
seen, you know?
Brad
That's all
Fritz.
she's
Wants to be
5'1".
validated and
She just
acknowledged.
wants to be seen.
She just wants to be seen. Let's see if you know this one, Brad. So, as you said, Buckingham and Nick's first band, Fritz, they opened for acts including Jefferson Airplane, Creedence Clearwater, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix.
Amazing.
In the early 70s, when they prepared their debut album for their new duo, Buckingham Nicks, Stevie borrowed their producer Keith Olsen's new gold Corvette. Do you know what happened to the Corvette? Do you know
I
this?
actually don't.
Okay,
This
I'm
is
gonna
actually
give you-
this is. I
I'll
know
give you
that she was
ABC.
his cleaning lady in exchange for rent and studio time,
Oh,
which is when she started writing
wow.
Gypsy. And I have a recording of her starting to record Sarah, where she literally says, I just want to be a singer. I don't want to be a cleaning lady anymore. And then the music kicks in.
Amazing. I love that.
I did not know she borrowed Keith's Corvette and fucked it up, I assume.
Gold Corvette. So you have an A, B, and C. What happened to the Corvette? A, it ended up on someone's roof in Van Nuys. B, it flew down a cliff on Mulholland. Or C, she drove it into the ocean in Venice.
Oof.
None of those are good options, Stephanie. What did you do?
Stephanie was
My guess now, so the problem is at that exact time, the car that Lindsey and Stevie had, I think could only go up to second gear, and it couldn't make right turns. So this I know for a fact is a true story. And she was getting tired of supporting him because she was waiting tables at a 20s themed diner in LA called Flappers, I think. Or something like that, where she had to wear like a flapper costume every night. Well, he just stayed at home like an asshole and worked on guitar picking. Men are terrible.
I'm so resentful.
Lindsey Buckingham's a monster. Amazing guitar player is a monster. I would say I would went down the hill, went off the cliff, because my feeling is she would forget to use a parking brake.
That is incorrect. Kelly, do you want to try to steal it? Ended up on someone's roof in Van Nuys, or she drove it into the ocean in Venice?
I think she drove it into the ocean.
That is incorrect. Now, this is what happened. She parked the vehicle on a steep Van Nuys hill in the San Fernando Valley. She forgot to put the handbrake on. So I'm actually going to give Brad a point.
I literally know her psychology.
Yes.
Even when I get it wrong.
She forgot to put the handbrake on.
Truly.
It rolled off the road, and because of the way the hill was, it landed on a neighbor's
it went
roof.
onto someone's roof.
Amazing.
Wow. Thank you. I swear to God, when you guys post this, Dan is going to call me from Chicago and say, you stupid whore. How do you not know that story?
Amazing. Okay, I'm going to do two more. Kelly. During the hedonistic record sessions for Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, any Coke foils left unattended would be consumed by Stevie's poodle named A, Gimlet, B, Ginny, or C, Cosmo.
Gimlet.
That is incorrect. You want to try to steal, Brad?
I don't pay attention to her dogs as much as I should have. I know Suleiman just died a few years ago, but you're talking about the Rumors days, so I'm going to say Ginny.
That is correct. Oh my God.
Do I get a point if that was my first instinct and I went against it?
No.
Got it. Okay.
Remember that extra point you got earlier?
Yeah, right.
All right, let's see if Brad knows this one. In Spin magazine in 1997.
Spin magazine. Remember
Spin?
that? I do. I
Yeah,
love
can we
Spin
just have a
magazine.
moment for Spin
I
magazine?
need to take a moment. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
She said in the interview that she watched the 1983 Tom Cruise film Risky Business during an all-night Coke binge and decided to buy the blank from the movie the next day. Was it A, the Porsche, B, the underwear he wore in that famous scene, or C, the house he lived in the movie?
The Porsche.
That is correct.
He knew that. He said that with so much confidence.
I know.
I actually believe she got the actual one, though.
She got like the actual.
I believe she actually
one
bought
from the
it,
film.
but actually literally had somebody from her team contact the studio and say, I want that car, I'll buy it for you. If I can't 100%, but my memory is that she not only bought it's like, because it wasn't a weird color, right? Like,
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I was under the
I'm almost sure she got
I think
the
she
one.
bought the one. She bought the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Let's see if Brad knows this. This is for Kelly. Stevie threatened to quit Fleetwood Mac if they named their 1979 double album Tusk. They did it anyway, and she stayed with the band. But why did she hate the name Tusk? Was it A, because Tusk was Mick Fleetwood's name for his weenus? B, because Tusk was Mick Fleetwood's name for his butthole? Or C, because Tusk was Mick Fleetwood's nickname for his penis?
What's
weenus?
a weenus?
Like this. Never heard of a weenus?
His penis.
That is correct.
Correct.
Did you know that, Brad?
Yeah, it's a British slang. It's an old British slang term for hard on is tusk. So, yeah,
I didn't know that.
She was not. I'd also like to point out she was very classy and elegant about that, but she was also fucking Mick Fleetwood at the time, and he was married. So she had a sliding scale during those years of where the Downton Abbey morals kicked in and when they didn't.
Got it.
Yeah, she kind of pick and choose.
Right. Like, don't write a song about your penis, but also get your penis over here right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm into it. I just don't want everyone to know what we call it at home.
Speaking of your healer today, I read in this article that she believes that she knows how she was killed in a previous life.
Ooh.
Do you know this, Brad? She said that
Stevie thinks she knows how she was killed in a previous life?
She thinks she was put to death on a guillotine.
Of course she does.
Point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course she does.
She also has a temperature-controlled shawl vault in her house.
Yeah, yes. So this I
sorry.
can tell you about the hold on. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll give you the full clothing insanity in
Yes.
like 90 seconds if I can.
Great.
Yes.
Once she's Stevie, so once she's rich and famous, the initial looks, those early 2 years of Fleetwood Mac is like flea market, secondhand stores, shit from the 60s, the 30s. Now they're rich and famous and she's Stevie Nicks in all capital letters. So she meets a woman named Margie Kent, who still to this day has made every piece of clothing she's ever worn.
Wow.
She basically owns Margie Kent, and Margie Kent just has mannequins of Stevie Nicks in her house, and she makes everything custom. Stevie Nicks then found an Italian boot maker in Italy who makes her legendary boots. He's been making the boots this whole, but he was like 50 when she was like, 30. So maybe I made 10, 15 years ago. He's 90, and so he's about to die. So she has him make like 1 or 2 dozen of her boots in every possible color and material possible because she's hoping they will last her whole life. And finally,
Oh my God.
the black and gold stand back shawl, which is the shawl she wears in the music video Stand Back, is so iconic that, and she knew the song was going to be a huge hit. That when they had the shawl made, she actually bought either one giant or multiple commercial grade rolls of the material. So that, she still has the original one and wears it in filmed concerts to show you that it's because they're kept in temperature controlled vaults. All her clothes are like maintained. They're like.
So would you say they're
She
being
wears
preserved
stuff-
or
Preserved
conserved?
Well, I don't know how much has to be changed. Like that shawl is just giant. she doesn't fit into the dresses from 1978. They'd have to be let out a little bit up here and out here. So that would probably be like reconstruction.
Yes, I think it's reconstruction. Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that.
Yes,
you
that's
really
amazing.
do know a lot about Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, that was incredible. Thank you.
I know. Listen, everyone's got to have a hobby.
Right, exactly.
And when you wrote, like, if I could teach a class on something, it would be this. I'm like, well, let's get into that. I mean, that sounds fun. You know?
I could totally teach a class about like how her lyrics intersect with romanticism and poetry and all that kind of stuff.
Are you going to start? You should teach this class in college. That could be an elective. I would take that, right?
The problem is I'm terrified of who would sign up for it.
Right.
The problem is I'm genuinely scared of what creatures would come out of the woodland areas.
Right.
To be like, that's the course
earth.
I want to take.
What lizards would arise from the core?
Mongo.
We get some mongos.
A lot of mongos in there. So Brad, you said that you were really good at French and that you used to take
I
notes.
was when I was 17. Yeah.
And you used to take notes in your other classes in French to keep up your French skills. And then you sort of lost it over the years, but then you go to when you go to France here and there, you said like every summer, you're still able, you kind of drop back into it and you're able to find drugs and hookers.
Which is the only thing you need.
I can order in restaurants. I can like loosely ask for directions, and I can find hookers and blow in French.
Perfect.
But usually only when I'm already a little drunk. Like I need to be just drunk enough that my brain stops trying to think about the conjugation and
you
starts
just kind of
talking.
flow right into it. Just let it flow.
Right.
So, okay, that's great because we're going to history class today and we're taking a class called Historic Horrors of Gay Paris.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about some people that are either French or have lived in France or in Paris. And they're not all exactly whores, but there's a theme.
They're horror adjacent.
Well, this first
Who
woman,
isn't?
she was a whore. She was a madam. Her name was Justine Paris. Justine Paris. She was a French courtesan and madam. She hosted several of the most famous brothels in mid-18th century Paris and was one of the most known and successful of her trade. While most brothels in mid-18th century Paris had no more than 3 prostitutes. Brad, this is your question. My apologies. We're going to go. We'll go back and forth.
Gotcha. Back and forth.
Well, While most brothels in mid-18th century Paris had no more than 3 prostitutes working in their brothels at any one time, Justine Paris had how many prostitutes?
Oh.
Is it A, 7, B, 14, or C, 22? How many whores are in that house?
In one house. She had one or she had a whole series in one house.
Correct. In one house.
In one house. She had 14.
Yes.
Good guess.
You know your whores.
Yeah, you're dirty, dirty whores.
I was literally just thinking of the size of townhouses in general in Paris because Paris doesn't change. So I'm like, could you fit 40? 27 and be
14
tight.
in there.
27 and be tight. 7 isn't going to be.
That's hilarious.
That's exactly it. Yeah, so she's like one of the most famous madams. She and her brothel are portrayed in the memoirs of Casanova. Casanova wrote about her. The Marquis de Sade wrote a role for her in one of his books. So
what was her name? Something Paris?
Justine Paris.
Justine
It almost
Paris.
sounds like a drag queen. Justin Paris.
It does.
Justine Paris.
Her real name was...
that.
I don't know how to pronounce French, so it's Bien Fait, I think. Bienfait.
Bien
Bienfait.
Bienfait.
Which would mean, I don't know what the fait, but bien is good. So bien.
Right.
Bien.
Good pussy.
That's exactly what it meant.
That would be Chien. Or Chat,
Oh,
actually. Chat is.
Chat?
Or no, Chien. Chien méchant. Chien méchant, yeah.
We did a game about
Chien.
this. We did a game
one
about...
is dog, one is cat. See what I mean? When I'm not drunk and we're not laughing.
Chat is cat.
Chat is cat and Chien is dog.
Chat
So
is
bien
cat.
chat.
Yeah. But you were saying, what's the other one?
Well, because the formal way of saying bitch, like not in the derogatory way towards a woman, but saying a female dog would be to say chien méchant, which means angry female dog.
Got it. Angry
Feral.
dog. Feral
Moaning.
animal.
All right, Lindsay.
Yes.
At one time, Justine Paris and another famous madam of the time opened a successful brothel together. And this woman's name was Marguerite Gourdin. Gourdin? Gourdin. I don't know.
Support
Don't
your
know how
local
to
businesses.
cannot pronounce French.
Gordon.
Margaret Gordon.
Maggie Gordon.
Good old Maggie Gordon. She was the wife of a French soldier who, with her husband's permission, prostituted herself with a wealthy nobleman. She got knocked up and she managed to secure child support and support for herself until that dude died.
Good for her.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Marguerite used agents to find prostitutes for her brothels. Like she literally, it was like a business. She had recruiters.
Wow.
And she divided her whores into 4 categories.
Okay.
The first were the women who worked and lived in the brothels.
Okay.
The second were prostitutes that lived in their own homes and had clients of their own, but still paid her. Like she owned them. She was pimped them or whatever.
Yep.
And then there were artists, singers, actors, and musicians supplementing their income. And then what is the 4th category? I'm going to give you an A, B, and C.
Okay.
Nuns escaping the restrictive life of the convent.
Get out of town.
B, poor women whose husbands had died.
Get out of here.
C, the wives of wealthy noblemen who wanted to get it.
Wow. B?
Poor women whose husbands had died. That's incorrect. Brad, would you like to steal?
Wow.
Was it A, nuns escaping the restrictive life of the convent, or C, the wives of wealthy noblemen?
Wow.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at that era, all the nobility was just fucking anyway. You know what I mean? Like there was a certain, especially in France, it was known. France was known for where you went on the continent. So I'm just going to say A.
No, it was the wives
okay.
Wives of
It was.
noblemen.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so the wives of wealthy merchants and noblemen who wanted to obtain their own source of income or merely enjoyed the work.
Wow. Good for them.
Totally fair.
Right.
Totally fair.
Totally fair.
Totally
Let
fair.
them.
Their husbands probably couldn't get up anymore, and they were like,
Oh, and I guess because, if you get, and even if she then got pregnant, as long as you were still occasionally fucking your nobleman husband, you could even just pass it off and be like,
Exactly.
it's yours.
Exactly. And so many
The,
people in those days,
nuns
I feel
have a
like-
harder problem with that.
Yeah,
The nuns have a
yeah, they
harder
have a lot-
problem with immaculate conception.
Yeah, how many times can that happen,
Yeah, they're like, we have a lot of Jesuses now, guys.
I feel like also people in that time, everyone claimed they had money and was living like they had money, but a lot of people were probably actually not. So they're like,
Yeah.
actually, honey,
Right,
go be a horse
right.
so we can get some supplemental income.
Well, yeah,
for
and you
our
have,
household.
men were the only ones who could own things in a lot of those periods
Right,
of time.
exactly.
So,
They
if your
had their own
husband
money.
gambled away all of your money,
Right, exactly.
you gotta
Smart.
go. You gotta get your kitty out on the street.
yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Wow.
fucking
times.
men. It always
times.
comes back to fucking men.
Fucking men. It always
unbelievable.
comes back to fucking men and
And
fucking
And fucking men.
Brad, number 3 question. I have a question about these 2 business partner madams. Where did they meet? Hint, it's related to the way they both died. Is it A, in a jail, B, in a hospital, or C, at a nobleman's party?
C, at a nobleman's party.
No, that's incorrect. Lindsay, do you want to take a guess? In a jail or in a hospital?
jail
No. They met at a hospital.
for syphilis.
Yes.
Oh.
God
Yeah.
bless.
They met there, then they went out and started their new business, their new whorehouse, and
Incredible.
then Justine Paris died. not long
Reunited
after.
years later.
It's like, wait, I have
I would
syphilis.
also-
You have syphilis. Let's
Right.
go into business
Yeah.
together.
10-year anniversary. Who's going?
Wow.
Yeah. A song was composed at the funeral of Marguerite when she died that I just found this on like Wikipedia or whatever, and I thought it was funny, so I'm including it. Oh, by the way, like all like noblemen, like princes, all these people were like their friends and like advocated for them, even though they sometimes would go to jail.
In France, it was legitimate to be like a madam or a prostitute. If you were like a richer one, like if you were not a streetwalker, if you were in a house with nice furniture and you had a wig on,
friends with all those people because they all came to them.
They had review books. They had review books like Yelp. They had little booklets they would put out every year where like critics would go around and rate them like restaurants and rate the prostitutes.
Oh my God, the Zagat Guide.
Yeah. Literally.
Well, when I went to Amsterdam maybe like 10 years ago, I took a wrong turn on my bicycle and I saw where the other whores were. I mean, there's the
red light
professional
district.
ones.
Right.
I saw the other ones and I was like, oh wow, there's a whole
what
other
color
world.
lights did they have?
They didn't have any lights. There were no buildings.
No,
They had nothing.
Yeah.
It was
I have a lot of friends who are sex workers and porn stars. It's like Pringles. When you get one, you just get a lot of them then. And but there really is.
One.
Yeah, no, once you pop, you can't stop.
Right. That's what it is.
once you but there really is, even back then, there was a huge difference between what would be like a streetwalker and what would be like a proper
it's very
courtesan or porn, or now we would call them porn stars or sex workers.
Right.
Or like a high-end escort.
Right, like an OnlyFans page is not the same as like somebody turning a trick at a truck stop, and even in airlines.
Yeah,
exactly. It's the same. It's still the same. So let me just quickly read you her song. I'm not going to sing it because I don't know the tune. I wish I did. But it goes, Noble mackerel and pox, Versailles, Paris are panicked. We all mourn this morning for this so-called hussy. Yes, Gordon, the madam, is dead as she had lived. The cock in the ass, the hearse is at the door, escorted by 300 whores, the pine in hand.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
The cock in the ass.
The cock in the ass.
I'm going to have somebody put music to that and sing it at my funeral.
That's gorgeous.
That's great.
The hearse at the door.
That is
There will be 300 whores at my funeral, too.
Yes, absolutely.
There will definitely be 300
fucking
whores at my funeral.
Will be 2 of them.
Yeah.
Lindsey, your turn, I believe? No.
I don't know. What was the last question?
The last question was...
Oh, where they met?
I answered first last time.
Yeah, it's
I
my
answered
question.
first last time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's Lindsey's question. Lindsey, Ava Kochever, also known as Eve Adams, was born Czechoslovakia. She was a Polish Jewish. Yeah, very well. That's why she changed it to Eve Adams.
I can see why she changed it for show business purposes.
Can't. I'm sorry. She's a Polish Jewish immigrant librarian and writer, most known for running from 1925 to 1926 a popular openly lesbian after theater club in Greenwich Village.
Wow.
Yeah, it was called Eve's Hangout.
Wow.
I know. It closed
I
when...
didn't know they had lesbians back then.
No, you're right. Yeah, that was you thought it was a new thing.
It was before lesbians.
BL.
Yeah.
Yeah. So her, and I'll tell you what her connection to Paris is in a minute. But so she had this after theater club called Eve's Hangout for lesbians.
Okay.
And it closed when she was arrested, and she was eventually deported back to Europe.
Wow.
Because she was convicted. She was arrested and convicted of an obscenity.
Okay.
What was the obscenity that she was convicted of? Was it A, displaying a painting that her girlfriend painted in which she posed nude? Was it B, writing a book called Lesbian Love? Or was it C, singing a sexually explicit song to Oops, an Undercover Cop?
B?
Yes, she wrote a book called Lesbian Love.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah.
That's
It was
amazing.
for private circulation. This was in February 1925. She wrote and published 150 copies for private circulation only of Lesbian Love, written under the name Evelyn Adams.
Wow.
A collection of short stories describing lives of women in the lesbian community. She was convicted by New York City's Vice Squad of obscenity for that book and for disorderly conduct after an undercover police officer said that Eve showed her the book and then she like made a pass at her.
Wow.
And then she spent a year in jail where she met Mae West. And then she was, I know. And I didn't look up like why was Mae West there at that same time. I'm not sure.
Oh, Mae West was arrested all the time.
She got arrested.
She was arrested for obscenity all the time.
So they're
Her
both
show was
for
utterly
obscenity.
illegal.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love it.
She was Lenny Bruce before Lenny Bruce.
Wow.
She literally, and as soon as she
cool.
would get arrested, the theater would bail her out, and then she'd go back on stage and do the show again, and now the place would be packed.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow.
So she, just real quick. So then, so she got deported back to Europe, and then she, so for a while she was living in Nice, actually, not in Paris. She was living in France.
My favorite.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite places in France.
I've never been. I want to go.
We should all be so lucky to get deported from America for obscenity
right?
and go
then
live
back
in Nice.
to Nice.
Well, guess what happened? She was in December 1943. She was arrested in Nice with her girlfriend, and they were imprisoned in an internment camp, and then they got sent to Auschwitz.
Oh my God! I didn't even think about you're in the middle of like Nazi Europe.
Sorry.
I'm like, France wasn't sending dykes to internment camps, and I'm like, but the Nazis.
But the Nazis.
How many times have we all had to say, but the Nazis?
But
Just in the last 2 years.
Just
in the last 2 years.
Right.
I
know. Sorry to end it on such a bad note.
That's okay, but she sounds incredible.
Sounds really cool. And so she in Europe, she's considered an LGBT icon. So I feel like we don't know her as well here, but like we should. Although the city of New York, and for some reason, I don't know why, the National Park Service tends to keep her memory alive. I didn't further look into that, but that was on Wikipedia.
Because that's how wide her vagina was. It was considered one of the great gorges of the Northeast.
There's a street in Paris named after her. And then a playwright named Barbara Kahn wrote a play about it, about her in the U.S. And there's a biography coming out about her this year.
Wow.
Called The Daring Life and Dangerous Times of Eve Adams.
Wow. Very cool.
What's interesting to me too is, I mean, not that we should like quantify murder and trauma, but I'd be interested to know if they pink triangled her or yellow starred her.
Yeah.
So like in the concentration camps,
Right.
because if she was Jewish and a lesbian, they usually only assigned you one.
Right.
And actually Pink Triangle was lowest or one of the lowest. The Jewish star was actually, so there was a lot of cases of gay Jews who then tried to hide their homosexuality or lean into their Judaism to try to get themselves slightly better death counts in the most macabre kind of horrible way. But it's just interesting because they had all these horrible categories, but what happens when you're 2 or 3 or 4 of those things?
Right.
Like how do you?
I never really thought about
what happens when you're intersectionally abused?
What happens when you're
destroyed?
A Jewish lesbian, communist who is left-handed? What do you put on me now?
Speaking of lesbians, do we know if the cubbyhole is still around in New York?
Well, during COVID, I don't know for sure, but I do know the woman who used to own the cubbyhole. I don't know if she still does.
Yeah.
She owns Cherries, I believe, on Cherry Grove. Cherries is open. I don't know if the cubbyhole, I mean, New York City was down to like 2 lesbian bars by the time we were leaving.
That's why I'm curious. What was the other one?
You girls don't get out and drink like the boys do. You just don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I went to the cubbyhole many moons ago, and I think with Spencer. I went with Spencer, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm at my first lesbian bar," because I've always gone to gay bars, and I never had been to a lesbian.
There's almost none. There's almost none.
You know
I read an article recently that said there's like less than 50 in all of America right now. Like it's the lowest it's ever been.
We need Eve Adams back.
When I lived in Long Beach, though.
Eve's Hangout.
Yeah, when I lived in Long Beach, there's a few lesbian bars still in Long Beach.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think
you.
of one in LA. I honestly can't think of one in LA. I mean, Akbar is a mixed bar of everybody, but it's really considered a gay bar. It identifies the bar has an identity. And
I know, but I've had those vodka sodas. It's a gay bar. Do you know what I mean?
That's the other thing you can tell. If the beer selection is limited, but the vodka soda is basically 5 ounces of vodka for $9, it's a gay bar. Not if it's a lesbian bar, they're like, what kind of beer would you like? Would you like an IPA? Would you like a regular lager?
Yes.
Would you like a harvest wheat? Would you like an autumnal
100%.
Would you like a pumpkin? And then you're like, what do you have? Can I have a vodka soda? And they're like, we have Smirnoff. That's what we have.
That's it. That's what you get. Oh my God. Vodka sodas and WeHo. That's like, I can't wait for the next season of Drag Race.
You're dead after 5.
Dead. All right. Oh my God. So
wait, I have a couple more questions that I think are important. Do you mind?
All right, hurry up and do them.
Okay,
let's do it.
Brad, do you know who Jean Dio and Bruno Lenoir were?
No.
They were the last people in France punished and killed for homosexuality.
Really?
They were the last people in France known to be executed, like officially, for homosexuality. Right. Yeah. And this was in 1750.
Wow.
Yeah, France has been super gay for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. Late at night on January 4th, 1750, a city watchman happened upon 2 men engaged in sex on some street that I can't pronounce. Rue something. The men were Jean Dio, 30, who worked at...
Rue means street, so you're halfway
street,
there.
So street, yeah. Jean Dio worked in a charcuterie close to the street, and Bruno Lenoir, 23, a cordwainer in the neighborhood.
What's a cordwainer?
That's my question.
Oh,
Brad,
shit.
What's a cordwainer? I'll give you A, B, and C. Is it A, a person who makes ropes, B, a shoemaker, or C, you know what it is?
Let's just say prostitutes. See, you know what it is.
No, that's incorrect.
Lindsey, do you want to say?
No, it's not a person who makes ropes. It's a shoemaker.
A cordwainer.
It's like specifically leather, I think. So yeah, they were the last people known to undergo capital punishment in France for the crime of homosexuality. And it was like really... There was actually like kind of at a time where it was starting to be less stigmatized. However, like for some reason, like they needed to make an example.
There's always going to be a last.
And they were low class, so it didn't. No one could say
right.
And then
that was always the big controversy about. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that was always the big controversy about Oscar Wilde, is the fact that he chose to stay and stand trial in his own country when everyone said, just go to France, Ireland won't follow you. And you're so beloved, but you just can't stay here because you broke the law. And because of that, he eventually died because of, the injuries he sustained in jail. But the big deal was you were actually you didn't put famous people on trial for buggery, for homosexuality by that point, and he was like, no, I'll stand trial. I'm a homo. Suck it up.
Yeah. Oh, so noble of him. Horrible. And I probably would not have made the same choice, but good for him.
No,
in a way.
I would have been like, again, bye, France. Bye.
Yeah, France is great.
Wow.
So, which leads me to my next question. Lindsey, France ended the criminalization of sex between any consenting adults in 1791. 1791. After that, nobody could be arrested for being gay. When did America end the criminalization of sex between consenting adults? Is it A? I'll give you is it A, 1969?
Okay.
B, 1995?
Okay.
Or C, 2003?
2003.
Yeah.
Yep,
France,
rights.
1791.
For us, it's states'
because it's states' rights. Yeah, and then it was a federal case in 2003.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, in America, it wasn't illegal anymore in most places a gay person would choose to live. But
they were
God help you if you want. Yeah, God help it if you wanted to be a gay farmer in Arkansas, you were screwed.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's the historic horrors of Gay Paris.
Wow. Makes me want to go to Paris and be a whore.
Yay. You're halfway there.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, Marsha just came in. She tallied up the points.
Marsha.
Brad
Marsha.
is sweeping this game. He
Am I?
has 12 points. Okay.
Do I?
If
I
we
was- I
combined our
sucked in the
points,
beginning.
if we combined our points, how many do we have though?
We have 5, 6, 7, only 8. So,
Oh, we suck.
And I
Brad,
got the Stevie Nicks question wrong. God.
I know, but that's
And you'll
okay.
never-
you
you'll
learn.
never-
That's,
forget
see,
it.
but that's the only thing I'll take away from this. I'll be
And
so
your
upset because I got that
your
wrong.
friend in Chicago, what's his name?
Exactly.
Yeah, he'll never let you live it down.
Yo, he's literally gonna be like, "You got a fucking question about fucking, the car
Yeah.
wrong, you
He's
idiot."
like, you're out of this club.
I love it. So, Marsha just tallied up the points. I'm the loser with 3 points.
You're turning into
I
me.
turned into Kelly Wallace Barnhill.
You need a healing.
Kelly,
Yes.
I need a healing.
Yeah,
You are just ahead of me with 5.
that's 2 ahead. That's not
but
just
you
ahead.
broke.
That's two.
You broke
I
your
broke my losing
streak.
streak. Yeah, I feel good.
Brad, you are our winner with 12 fucking huge points. Oh my God.
I've always been a pain in the ass know-it-all, and I still am.
This is no different.
I'm really proud of you. I'm happy that you won. And as our winner on Fuck You, I'm Smarter, you get to not only look us in the eye and say, fuck you, I'm smarter, but you also get to make a valedictorian speech. And this is your time to shine, baby. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, let me start my speech by saying, fuck you, I'm smarter. And to everyone out there watching this speech, know that I didn't just get here by watching endless, useless documentaries on Amazon Prime when I'm hungover. It also took night after night of binge drinking, drug use, and dangerous sex with strangers in order to acquire the knowledge I have today at 43 years young. So I encourage you to save the $100,000 your parents were going to waste on you going and getting a liberal arts degree and use that money for hookers, drugs, and traveling the world. You'll learn more and you'll still end up right where I am today.
Yes,
Beautiful.
That was amazing.
That was hilarious, inspiring, and true.
And
like
so
that's-
true. Like,
Wow.
I'm still paying my student loans.
That's
Right.
Wow. You
right,
could really could.
right.
That was,
You can get to where we all are right now without running up $100,000 in debt.
Yeah, and
It's
probably
possible.
have a lot more fun.
Oh my God. Brad, thank you
Genius.
so much for doing our show. This was so much fun. And
Thank you for having me.
congratulations.
This was super fun.
Oh my God,
I'm just so
thank you
happy I
so
didn't
much.
fail.
No,
you
did amazing.
won. Oh, let's plug your plugs. Where
yeah,
can we find
where can we
you?
find you?
Oh, sure. My latest comedy special is out right now on Amazon Prime. It's called Brash Boys Club. You can
Yes.
rent it or buy it on Amazon Prime. You can pick up my memoir of crazy stories of my life and of the road called My Big Gay Life. Also available on Amazon. Do I have anything else to plug? Oh, I have dates coming up in Palm Springs in July. Santa Monica in 2 weeks. I'm updating all my social media, and in August I'll be at World Bear Pride in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'll be at the anniversary of Bears, Bikers, and Mayhem in Gettysburg,
Yes.
Pennsylvania. So I'm getting back out on the road.
Amazing. Well, this is coming out in a couple of weeks, so you might be doing your
Perfect.
show.
Yeah.
So we'll
We'll
maybe
plug
we can.
that
Yeah.
for
Perfect.
sure.
August. Everyone come start
August.
seeing me again in August.
Yes. All right.
Amazing.
Well, you can follow Kelly and Lindsey at Kelly and Lindsey on Instagram. We're on YouTube Live now. You can watch this
We're on YouTube Live
episode
right now.
but you're not. But you should
no,
be.
but you will be.
We love you.
Next
Anything
time.
else, Kelly Belly?
Happy Pride
Happy
Month.
Pride Month.
Like, let's
Happy Pride Month.
Yes. Have fun. Be safe. Drink
just-
a lot of vodka sodas.
at a gay bar. Yes, support your
Amen.
locally owned
Yes, they
like,
need you.
restaurants, shops,
Yes.
like just
Support
be super
businesses.
pro.
Support
Support
small businesses.
LGBT owned small businesses.
Brad, this was a blast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Fuck you, I'm smarter.